everyone. Today we're going to be talking about unit rate and equivalent ratios. So I'm going to start with some examples of unit rate. So when you think of unit rate, I want you to think of how many per one. So the goal of the unit rate is to get our second quantity to 1. So this first example, we have a rate of 420 miles per 7 hours. So that would be our rate. Now I'm asking you to find the unit rate. So I want to know per how many per 1 hour. So I can set up a ratio here, 420 over 7. And if I am trying to get the hours to 1 hour, then I have to ask myself, what can I do to this ratio? Well, using multiplication or division, I can divide by 7. So if I divide 420 by 7, I'll find out how many miles I can go in 1 hour. So I'm going to do some division down here. 420 divided by 7. 7 does not go into 4, but it does go into 42 6 times. I subtract, I'm left with 0. Bring down a 0, and 7 goes into 0, 0 times. So 60 miles per hour would be our unit rate. And you don't have to say per 1 hour, you can just say per hour. I'm going to know that that means per 1 hour because that's the definition of unit rate. Alright, now for our second example, I'd like you to try to do this one with me. So please write down that the rate is 360 customers per 30 days. So when I find the unit rate, I want to find it how many customers came in 1 day. So again, I could set up my ratio here, 360 customers in 30 days. And you might remember fraction line means divide. So that might be your first trick to help you, or you can set up your equivalent ratios to see if you divide both the top and the bottom of this fraction or ratio by 30, you'll figure out how many customers came in 1 day. So fraction line means divide. I'm going to divide 360 by 30. 30 doesn't go into 3, but it does go into 36 one time. 36 minus 30 leaves me with a remainder of 6. I bring down a 0, and I see 30 goes into 60 exactly 2 times. There's not going to be a remainder, so I can stop. That means that 12 customers came per day. So again, the goal of the unit rate is to figure out how many per 1. Okay, pause the video here if you need to finish copying this down. Otherwise, we're going to go into our second slide. The second slide is actually going to be a you-do slide. So the rate is $7.96 per 5 pounds. So maybe I'm buying nuts. And I know if I buy 5 pounds that I'm going to have to spend $7.96. So I want to know what's the cost here per 1 pound. So you could set up your fraction or your ratio. You can use the fact that fraction line means divide. And you can divide to find the answer for this. So please go ahead, pause the video now, and find the unit rate. Okay, so hopefully you have found the unit rate. First thing I would do is set up my ratio, $7.96 for 5 pounds. I want to know how much money it's going to cost me to go to buy 1 pound. Again, fraction line means divide. Or I can see that the pattern using multiplication or division is to divide by 5. So I can follow the rules of fractions, and whatever I do to the bottom, I also can do to the top. So this is $7.96 divided by 5. I'm going to show my work right here. 5 goes into 7 one time. Subtract and you get 2. Bring down your 9. 5 goes into 29 5 times. Subtract, and you get 4. 5 goes into 46 9 times. Subtract, and you get 1. Bring down an invisible 0 here. And I see that 5 goes into 10 exactly 2 times. Now, don't forget to bring your decimal right up to your answer. 1.592. Now, since we are talking about money, we are going to have to round this to the nearest hundredth. So if I'm rounding it to the 9, I have to look at the 2. The 2 says to stay the same. So my answer would be $1.59 per pound. Hopefully you got that right. If you did, give yourself a smiley face. Now, I want you to go ahead and write 3 equivalent ratios. For the ratio of right-handed students to left-handed students is 18:4. So again, I'm talking about right-handed students to left-handed students. So pause the video now and please come up with 3 equivalent ratios for 18:4. Okay, hopefully you found those 3 equivalent ratios. Since 18:4 is a ratio, I can write it as a fraction. Now this is going to be most helpful when coming up with equivalent ratios because I like to think of equivalent ratios as equivalent fractions. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to divide both the numerator and the denominator by 2. 18 divides by 2 to give me 9. 4 divides by 2 to give me 2. So this is my first ratio, 9:2. Now I can manipulate this fraction again. I can choose to multiply by 3. 9 times 3 is 27. 2 times 3 is 6. So my second ratio I came up with is 27:6. Now I can multiply this ratio. There's nothing I can divide by this ratio except for 3, which isn't going to help me. 27 doesn't divide by 2, so I can't divide by 2. But so I can choose again. I'm going to multiply by 2. 27 times 2 is 54. 6 times 2 is 12. So a third equivalent ratio I came up with is 54:12. Now as long as your ratio simplifies to 9/2, I multiplied by 3 here, by 3 here. I multiplied by 6 here, by 6 there. These are all equivalent ratios. So as long as your ratio simplifies to 9:2 or 9/2, then you did this problem right. Alright, next we are going to talk about Starburst. So I'm going to the store and I want to get the best buy. There's a sale on Starburst and I want to know which one should I buy. So I can spend $7.97 to get 30 Starbursts. Remember, this is our rate. Or I could spend $4.77 to get 12 Starbursts. So, which one is the better buy? To do this, I should find the unit rate. So, the first thing I'm going to do is write my ratios. $7.97 for 30 Starbursts. I want to know how much it's going to cost me to buy 1 Starburst. So, use the fact that the fraction line means divide and divide $7.97 by 30, or go ahead and look at the pattern here. If you divide by 30, you'll get 1. Either way, that means I got to put $7.97 in the house, divided by 30. This time I'm going to ring my decimal up right away so I don't forget about it. 30 doesn't go into 7, but it does go into 79 2 times. 2 times 30 is 60. I subtract and I get 9, 1. Bring down your 7. Now 30 goes into 197 6 times. 6 times 30 is 180. I subtract, I get 17. One more time here, because I am talking about money, I do want to figure out what I need to round to. 30 goes into 170 5 times. 5 times 30 is 150. I subtract and I get 20. So if I wanted to round this to change or to talking about money, I need to go to the 100 spot. So that means I need to look at the 5. 5 and above, give it a shove. So this is actually going to be about 27 cents for 1 Starburst. On the other side, I have a rate of $4.77 for 12 Starbursts. Why don't you pause the video now and see if you can figure out the unit rate for this ratio. I'm going to go ahead and keep moving on. I know that I'm going to divide $4.77 by 12 Starbursts. Again, if you could set up your ratio. Fraction line means divide. Or you can set it equal to 1 Starburst. And then you'll see you have to divide by 12. So, $4.77 goes in the house, divided by 12. 12 does not go into 4, but it does go into 47. I'm going to bring my decimal up to my answer. times 12 is 48, so it's got to be 3. 3 times 12 is 36. Subtract and you get 11. Bring down a 7. 12 times 9 is going to get me closest here. 12 times 9 is 108. I subtract, I get 9, and I bring down a 0. Last time here to tell me if I'm going to have to round up or stay same. 12 goes into 90, 7 times. 7 times 12 is 84. That means that 0.397 is going to round to about 40 cents. This says, the 7 says go up. 5 and above, we give it a shove. 4 and below, stay low. So this means that this Starburst actually costs 40 cents per Starburst. So let's think about it. Would you rather spend 27 cents on a Starburst or 40 cents on a Starburst? And the correct answer should be 27 cents on a Starburst. So we would rather buy the pack of 30 because we're actually going to save money in the long run if we keep buying more Starbursts. Write the ratio of homework passes to exit tickets. Are the ratios equivalent? So I have 16, Mr. Rowley has 16 homework papers and 14 exit tickets. Ms. Rivera has 64 homework papers and 60 exit tickets. So the first thing I'm going to do is write my ratios out. They wanted the ratio of homework papers to exit tickets. So I'm going to write my homework passes first, 16 to 14. And 64 to 60. Now there's two ways that we can do this. We can divide, or I can see if they have equivalent ratios. Now I just so happen to know that if I multiply 16 by 4, I'm going to get 64. When I multiply 14 by 4, I get 56. So because their numerators are the same and their denominators are not the same, I know that these are not equal. Now I could have also used division and divided 16 by 14. And I'm just going to do this real quick on the calculator. 16 divided by 14 is it's about 1 and 42/100ths, or I can do it the other way. 64 divided by 60 is about 1 and this 6 repeats. So it's Miss Rivera has the lower ratio of homework papers to exit tickets. But the question was, are the ratios equivalent? And if you just would have done this top part, you can see that they're not equivalent because their fractions are not the same. Or you can look at their value of their ratio when you divide numerator by denominator and see that these numbers are not the same. Hopefully you understood today's lesson. Please go ahead and complete your exit ticket now.